My brother stole my fiancée and got her pregnant, so I disappeared for 5 years. Now he's in a coma, and my parents want me to take his place. 5 years ago, I learned that some betrayals don't come with warning signs. My name is Owen Vale. Back then, I was 27 years old, working as a textile engineer for a mid-size manufacturing company. I earned a decent salary and was building what I believed was a stable future. I had been in a relationship with Marina Siz for 3 years. She worked as a wedding planner, which in hindsight feels almost ironic. She organized other people's dream weddings for a living, and ours was supposed to happen in exactly 1 month. Everything seemed perfect. That's the part that still stays with me sometimes. There were no clear red flags, no uneasy feelings I ignored, or maybe I simply failed to see them. My family situation was always complicated. My older brother, Dorian, had always been the golden child. He was 30 at the time and worked in our family's construction supply business. In our parents' eyes, he could do no wrong. He was charismatic and confident, the kind of person who entered a room and immediately commanded attention. I, on the other hand, was the backup son, the responsible one, the one who didn't need constant attention because I appeared to have my life under control. Over the years, I had accepted that family dynamic, or at least I believed I had. It was a Tuesday when my mother called. "Owen, can you come by the house tonight?" she asked. "We need to go over some final wedding details." I was in the middle of reviewing production schedules at work, but I replied, "Sure, no problem." I assumed she wanted to discuss seating arrangements or whether we needed extra chairs for a distant relative I had never met. Marina and I had already managed most of the planning, but my mother liked to feel included in the process. I finished my work, picked up some takeout, and drove to my parents' house around 7 p.m. It was the home where I grew up, a modest, 2-story house in a quiet neighborhood, the kind of place that should have felt safe and familiar. When I walked through the front door, my father was standing in the kitchen. He looked at me with an unusual expression that I couldn't quite interpret. Then he simply nodded and returned to whatever he had been doing. He didn't say a word. "Owen, we're in the living room," my mother called out. I walked down the hallway, still thinking about wedding details, maybe preparing myself to defend our choice of centerpieces or something equally insignificant. Then I stepped into the living room, and my entire world shifted. Marina was sitting on the couch. That alone wasn't unusual. She had visited my parents' house many times before. What stopped me was the fact that Dorian was sitting right next to her, closer than future in-laws should ever sit. My mother sat in the armchair across from them, her hands folded neatly in her lap. My father followed me into the room and positioned himself near the doorway, almost like he was blocking the exit. "Owen, sit down," my mother said. Her voice was calm, too controlled. "What's going on?" I looked at Marina, then at Dorian. Neither of them met my eyes. "We need to talk to you about something. About the wedding." That's when I noticed it. Marina's hand was resting on her stomach, not casually, but protectively, as if she were guarding something. And my mother's expression carried something I had never seen before. It wasn't anger or disappointment, emotions I had grown up learning to recognize. It was pity. I didn't sit down. "Owen, please," my mother said again, gesturing toward the empty chair. "Just tell me what's going on." My voice sounded steadier than I felt. Marina finally looked up at me. Her eyes were red, as if she had been crying, but there was another emotion there as well, perhaps guilt or resignation. Dorian shifted his throat. "Look, man, there is no easy way to say this." "Then just say it." The silence that followed felt endless. Finally, Marina spoke. Her voice was barely above a whisper. "I'm pregnant." For a brief second, I felt confused. We had talked about having children someday, but not until after the wedding, not until we were more settled.
Then I noticed how she was sitting beside Dorian and how his hand rested on the couch cushion between them.
There's nothing to work through. You made your choice. Now live with it. I walked out of that house and heard the door close behind me with a sense of finality that echoed through the quiet suburban street. I knew I would never walk through that door again. That night, I returned to my apartment, the same place where they had been betraying me behind my back, and I began removing my old life piece by piece. I blocked every number: Marina, Dorian, my mother, and my father. I also blocked every mutual friend who might try to act as a mediator. The next day, I changed my phone number. I secured all my social media accounts, set everything to private, and removed anyone connected to that part of my life. 2 weeks later, I submitted my resignation at work. A month after that, I moved 800 miles away to a different state where nobody knew my name or my history. That was 5 years ago. Now I'm 32 years old, sitting in my corner office at a major textile manufacturing firm, where I work as a senior production manager. I earn twice as much as I did back then. I manage a team of 15 employees, and last quarter we exceeded our production targets by 18%. I also went to therapy, real therapy, not just talking to friends over drinks. I spent 2 years working through the betrayal and the family dysfunction, learning how to trust again. I also learned that what happened was not a reflection of my worth, it was a reflection of theirs. For the past 8 months I've been seeing someone. Her name is Iris. She works in graphic design, and we met at a coffee shop after she accidentally picked up my order. We're taking things slowly. She knows I came out of a complicated situation, but I haven't shared the full story yet. Maybe one day I will. Or maybe the past can simply remain in the past. I hadn't heard from my family in 5 years, not a single call, text message, email, or message through mutual friends. Complete silence. Sometimes I wondered if they ever thought about me. Most of the time, I didn't think about it at all. I had built a stable life without them, and that was enough. Then, on a random Thursday evening, my phone rang. The screen showed an unknown number. I almost ignored it. I received plenty of spam calls, but for some reason, I decided to answer. Hello? Owen, it's Mom. Please don't hang up. Something has happened. I should have ended the call immediately. I should have blocked the number and returned to my routine, but I didn't. Perhaps it was curiosity, or perhaps it was the habit built from years of being the obedient son. I'm listening, I said, keeping my voice neutral. Her voice sounded older and strained. It's Dorian. He was in an accident, a serious one, 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks, and she was only calling now. That detail alone told me exactly where I still ranked in the family hierarchy, still last. He was drunk driving, Owen. He hit a tree going 70. He's in a coma, Owen. The doctors don't know if he'll wake up, and even if he does, there's significant brain damage. He may never be the same. I felt nothing. Not satisfaction, not sympathy, just a distant recognition that actions lead to consequences. Why are you calling me? I asked. Marina is struggling. The child, he's 4 now, keeps asking about his father. The medical bills are piling up. The business is falling apart without Dorian running things. Your father's health isn't good, and the stress— Mom, I interrupted, why are you calling me? There was a long pause. When she spoke again, her tone changed. It was the familiar voice from my childhood, the one she used when she wanted something. Owen, we need you to come home. We need you to help Marina and the child, not just financially. We need you to take Dorian's place. The words hung in the air. For a moment, I thought I had misunderstood. Say that again? I said quietly. Marina needs real support, Owen, not just money. She can't manage this alone. The child needs a father figure in the house, someone stable and present. We need you to move in with her and help raise the boy. I sat down.
not because I was agreeing, but because my legs suddenly felt unsteady. "Let me make sure I understand," I said, my voice controlled. "You want me to move in with the woman who was sleeping with my brother?"
"You're absolutely right about one thing, Mom," I said. I could hear a hint of hope into her voice. "What's that?" "5 years ago, you told me that family comes first. So let me be completely clear. You're not my family anymore. You haven't been for the past 5 years. And whatever happens to Dorian, Marina, or that child has nothing to do with me." "Oh, and you can't mean that. We're your family." I interrupted her. "No. You made that decision 5 years ago. When you sat me down in that living room and told me to accept being replaced, that was the moment this family ended. I didn't break it. I simply accepted the choice you had already made." "That's not fair. We were trying to do what was best for everyone." "Best for everyone?" I laughed, though it sounded harsh. "You mean best for Dorian. Just like always. I spent my entire childhood watching you excuse his behavior, cover for his mistakes, and hand him everything while I worked for even a small amount of approval. And when he took the one thing that was truly mine, you expected me to smile and accept it. We thought eventually you would understand." "I understand perfectly," I replied. "I built a new life. I'm successful. I earn more money than Dorian ever did. I have people around me who genuinely value me, people who don't treat me like a backup option or a safety net. And I achieved all of that without any of you." There was silence on the other end of the line. When she spoke again, her voice sounded smaller. "So, you're just going to abandon a child? Your own nephew? You're going to leave Marina to struggle alone with a 4-year-old while his father is lying in a hospital bed?" "That child has a mother," I said calmly. "He also has grandparents, 3 people who helped create this situation, 3 people who chose each other over me. That boy isn't my responsibility. He is the result of your decisions." "He's innocent in all of this." "So was I. But that didn't stop any of you from choosing Dorian over me. You want to talk about innocence? I was planning a wedding. I was excited about my future. And all of you sat there and told me to accept being discarded, like I didn't matter." "Your father's will still includes you," she said, changing tactics. "Half the business, half the house, the investments." "Keep it," I replied coldly. "Keep every penny. I don't want anything from any of you. Not your money, not your guilt, and not your sudden need for me. I built my life on my own, without anything you could offer." "Owen, please," she said, her voice breaking. "What are we supposed to do?" And there it was. After 5 years of silence, after asking me to move in with my brother's partner, after offering inheritance as leverage, she was now asking me what they should do. Exactly what you told me to do 5 years ago. Accept the situation and move on. You chose Dorian. You supported him. You allowed him to believe he could do anything without consequences. Now deal with the results. "But he's your brother." "I don't have a brother." The words came out firm and final. I had one once, but he disappeared the moment he decided my fiancé was worth more than our relationship. The man in that hospital bed is a stranger whose choices led him exactly where he is. "Owen, you don't understand." "I understand perfectly. Dorian spent his entire life doing whatever he wanted because no one held him accountable. He drank and drove because he never learned that actions have consequences. And now you expect me to repair the damage created by years of never telling him no. I heard her take a shaky breath. When she spoke again, her voice sounded desperate. We're losing everything, Owen. The business is collapsing without Dorian running it. We took loans to pay for his medical treatment. We might have to sell the house. Your father's health is getting worse, and we can't afford. There's nothing left. Please, she continued, we needed Dorian to keep everything going. And finally, the truth appeared beneath the layers of manipulation. This was never about family love or reconciliation. It wasn't really about Troy needing a father figure or Marina needing emotional support. It wasn't about me being responsible. They were simply desperate, and I was the last resource they believed they could use. Then you have exactly what they gave me 5 years ago, I said quietly.